We are right now facing a huge disruption in the automotive industry, especially in the EV space. There is amazing manufacturers coming out of China, companies that just a couple of years ago nobody has ever even heard about. So today this is going to be our third video out of our 6-part series where we will take a closer look at exactly those Chinese car manufacturers and check their potential for the future and also for your portfolio to supercharge that as well. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe and welcome to part 3 out of 6 of our China Taking Over series, where we take a closer look at 5 Chinese car manufacturers out of our portfolios that we analyze on a daily basis. And today we're gonna take a look at the smallest of those companies. So in summary, we will be looking in this series at BYD, Geely, XPeng, NIO, this is this video right here that you're watching this very moment, and Xiaomi is already behind us. That's that video right here. Maybe we can link that. And so without any further ado, NIO, as you can see here on this little table that I prepared for you, NIO is the smallest company regarding market capitalization out of those companies that we will take a look at. However, with their roughly $9 billion in market cap, they are not as tiny as one might expect. So for example, if we just take a look at Renault market cap, I do believe that is in the same ballpark. That's somewhat yeah, exactly. So Renault, for example, 11 billion market cap, and that market capitalization is, even though NIO has experienced in recent years a huge sell-off of their top in 2021, and also even though they're such a newly established and young company. And before we will take a look at the charts and the future outlook and our prediction for the company NIO and their stock potential, of course, let's, as always, as we do in this series, let's take a look here at the website, for example, of NIO Cars and check out what cars exactly they build and which cars they offer. And you can see their range here. So they have a few concept cars here. That's not really interesting to me. Every car maker can pump out a hugely extraordinary concept car and then not deliver anything. But if we take a look at the cars that they currently have on sale, for example, let's check out the ET7. That's one of their flagship models. So a huge luxury limousine kind of car, and if I am not mistaken, yep, that sells at roughly $70,000 US in the American market. So that is already quite a hefty price tag, and one would of course expect quite a bit of luxury for such a price tag. And regarding that, the reviews that I've seen are somewhat mixed. So many people are hugely happy with the overall build quality. There's a lot of complaints going on regarding driver assistance being too pushy and not very comfortable to deal with. But what sparks my interest here is if you take a look at these cars, and you can actually see that for every single one of these cars here, they have this, in my mind at least, absolutely ugly knobs and build up here on the top of the roof. So that's some, I don't know, is it like obviously it's a LiDAR sensor or a camera setup or I don't know what, but you really could do a better job of hiding those. I mean, apparently they have decided to incorporate that to their design language, but at least in my mind, I don't like it. Overall, I do like those cars. I think they are quite nice looking. By the way, also the website is amazing, but I really do dislike those sensors sticking up there on the top like a sore thumb. Again, what you can see here, what they hugely brag with is their apparently super advanced suspension system of absolutely deregulating every single bump in the road individually for every single wheel. So that is a marketing stunt that they have pulled off at many occasions, and that is apparently the feature that they are the most proud of. And overall, even from this setup right here, you can see that they definitely are targeted and tailored towards a more luxury audience and luxury market, because that's no minivan, that is not a budget hatchback, which you can see here, but that is really obviously tailored towards luxury and high-end business means. And what's also somewhat unique to NIO is that they also heavily invest into this technology of battery swapping. So you have stations where you can drive to, and within 3 minutes you will have your empty battery out of your car exchanged for a full new one. So basically like a stop at the gas station, but so in time perspective, somewhat the same as a stop at the gas station, but only with your electric battery here. And I don't know whether that is a system that will be a huge breakthrough, because if I remember correctly, Tesla already has implemented such a system in California already a couple of years back. There was even in the late 2010s where they already implemented this system for free for some of their Model S users back then. And it wasn't really a huge success. Many people did not make use of that service because also, of course, obviously it was way more expensive than just charging your car regularly, just because of this whole process of swapping the battery for the new one and these new stations that have to be built up for this exact car alone, right? Because at a charger you can just plug in every single car. Doesn't matter the brand usually, but with these stations, obviously, you will have to go to a designated NIO station. You cannot just go to any charging port. So you can see some of the strategies that they have implemented for their business have turned out to be somewhat problematic, and that is also mirrored in the stock market performance of recent years. I mean, if you look at this, we have here the absolute top back in January of 2021, and ever since, brace yourself, up until current levels, we have so far lost about 95% of share price and of shareholder value. That is quite a tough one to swallow. And to make that even more apparent here, so in our Elliott Wave count here, we estimate that after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave movement, we have so far concluded an overreaching wave 1 top here. And the just mentioned, that was already in November of 2020. We have ever since seen another corrective high here. So this high has not been part of a newly established and sustained upward move here, but this one was just corrective in nature. And ever since we have seen a prolonged and rather complex WXZ corrective pattern here. And we are right now in the very last legs here of finishing up this final wave Z corrective mode here into our overreaching wave 2 low. And I will also just in a second bring you over here to our more imminent time frame. But before I want to share with you something. So you can see here that our expectation based on Elliott Wave counts, of course, is that we will see after a wave 2 low, we will see a wave 3 to follow. However, I urge you to please take that with a grain of salt, because we have been here already so low, so 95% sell-off from the top. That means we are well below the 88.7 retracement. So if a course drops as low, technically, of course, it is still possible that the course is in development of the wave 2 low. But the probability of that really happening are somewhat minimal. And so if we go over here to the more imminent time frame, I mean, you can see here that we have, in all honesty and transparency, we have established target zones here for the price action in NIO to find a pivot point and turn back to the upside. And the course has not done so twice. I mean, of course, there has been market reaction here, as you can see, but only minimal reaction. If we see something like this, we see market reaction, we see the first reaction here, but the reaction is not sustained, but it again sells off into another target zone and then just slightly climbs above before it again falls completely through our target zone. That's the point where at a pure technical Elliott Wave basis, we have to be honest and tell you what we see in the charts, and on a technical basis, the structure is not yet broken. But regarding investment confidence, that is not to be taken lightly. And that's exactly the reason why we do not have a target zone here. If you are a subscriber to our daily market analysis service, which by the way, you can find down there in the description, there's a link taking you to our website. If you are a subscriber, you will know our target zones that we establish for such opportunities in the market. And that is such an opportunity in the market. We establish target zones and trading areas. However, in this case here, we really do not have a huge load of confidence. That's why we have not given out a target zone and have not advised our subscribers to really make use of these low courses here in NIO, because even though on a technical basis the structure is still holding so far, but if I was you, I would not at all try to catch this pivot point here, this super low point and this turning point, but I would really urge you to wait for market confirmation. And if we really see momentum to come back in here and climb substantially above 361, and if we manage to sustain the price action above 702, that's the point where I would really start to gain confidence. And I mean, of course, there's quite a bit of market action already behind us at this point. But if we again take a look at our overreaching time frame here, so even if we are to, from current levels, climb into the area of above $7, so that would be 100% already that you have missed. But up from these points then, so let's start maybe from $7. There is still such a long way to go here. I mean, even up to our wave 1 top here that we see, there's another 500% to go. So I would really urge you to not jump into the market here, but to really wait for confirmation and to wait for the wave structure to really confirm our scenario here before you jump into the charts. So that's all for today. Glad you stayed here with me. And of course, stay tuned for the next parts of our China Taking Over series, part 4 out of 6 coming up. And to not miss that, of course, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell notifications, and part 4 should be coming out sometime next week. So hopefully see you there. Take care. Bye-bye.